Hello there, this is Mike Goldenberg here with Abzan Company Deck Tech. This is the deck, I've been tweaking it for a little while, but this is the shell of what I won the 10K with and what I took to SCG Invitational. I did really well with this deck at the Invitational, but my standard showing was so bad that I don't really want to talk about the Invitational. My standard showing was that bad. But I did really well with this deck. I'm really happy with where it stands in Modern right now. I think having a good, quick game plan A against unfair decks and a very good game plan B against the fairer decks of the format is where I personally want to be in Modern, and I think this is the deck to take advantage of that. So I broke out the deck the way I like to visualize it. So I'm running 21 lands. I know a lot of other versions run 22. I even recently heard someone runs 23. But I like 21. It's a little greedy. It's the exact number we need to consistently cast our spells. But 22 technically has a better turnaround when we're expecting to play against decks that are going to kill our mana dorks. You want more lands when you're going to be going against Ponza, for example. If they have Lightning Bolt for our Noble and Blood Moon to stop our mana base, we're not going to be able to color fix. We can easily get out-tempoed out of the game. But those decks don't really exist right now. Lightning Bolt decks, if they're bolting my bird, I'm happy, because they're not going to probably have an extra bolt for my Devoted Druid. The interactive decks of the format, and putting that in quotations, like Hollow One, and they're running 6 removal spells. So if they spend one of my bird, then my Finks, my Seer, my Druid, my Vizier, my Skoos, those are all living. So I don't really mind that. I don't mind being a little greedy. I really just need 2 lands, and 21 is the perfect number to get 2 lands consistently. In fact, the actual math on it. So with 21 lands, I will hit on the play 98.8% of the time. I'll hit my second land drop. That's on the play. Half the time we're on the draw, so it's even higher, which I am very happy with that. It's almost 100% of the time I'm going to be hitting my 2 land drops, which is all I really need to really get going with this deck. Obviously, Court and Company costs more, but with Mana Dorks and everything else, it's fine. So 21 lands. I'm running 7 Mana Dorks, which is good to consistently get one in my opening hand. I like that. Running more Nobles and Birds, even though I do think Birds are better right now, and there's a case to be made for running 4 and 3. Birds help us cast our black spells, and they also, conveniently, block spirits, which can be a little bit of an issue. Especially with a couple Gavney Township triggers, we can kind of get them to be pretty big. So, first budget consideration, if you're looking at this as a budget deck, play 4 birds and only 3 nobles. I like the 4 nobles because I like the grind better. I really love exalted triggers. It's one of my favorite things to have. And I like having that plan B of beatdown be even better. This is a combo. The core of the combo pieces right here. I have the 4 Vizier. This is first and foremost a Vizier deck, not a Druid deck. So this is the chief combo piece. So 4 Vizier. I have 4 Finks, 2 Viscera Seer. That's the infinite Scry, infinite life gain combo. I have 4 Devoted Druid, which combos with Vizier to get infinite green mana, which I can then use with Duskwatch Recruiter to draw my entire deck, until I eventually draw into a Walking Ballista and make a very large creature, and then ping my removal to death. Ping my opponent to death. So that is the entire combo, and those are the combo pieces. Here are my flex pieces. I'm running 3 Eternal Witness, which is just a very good value card. I originally started with 2. I worked my way up to 3 because I found myself in situations, primarily online, where Eternal Witness just allowed me to loop through faster or do things faster than Renegade Rallier would, which was my original. I used to have a 2-2 split. Rallier's still outstanding. Absolutely phenomenal card. Being able to cord for him to buy back a dead Druid at some of the opponent's end step is just more value than buying back a Druid. It's also just really good on curve. If I start with the very fair open is turn 1 Noble, turn 2 fetch land, play a Renegade Rally or buy back another fetch land, play another Mana Dork. Turn 3 I have all the mana in the world, maybe even untap with a Scavenging Ooze and hurt a graveyard deck. So it's a very fair, powerful card. I think it's underplayed in Modern, and is actually what originally drew me to the deck was Renegade Rallier. Safi Eriksdotter is kind of an extra combo piece. She combos with Renegade Rallier and Viscera Seer. If I sacrifice Safi targeting Renegade Rallier, because what Safi does is when a creature is put into a graveyard, this turn, you bring it back. So if I sacrifice Safi, target Renegade Rallier, and then I sacrifice Renegade Rallier with Viscera Seer, I get to scry 1. Then, Renegade Rallier comes back from the graveyard because of Safi. Renegade Rallier's Revolt triggers, which brings Safi back to the graveyard. That combo I can do as many times as I want. I can set myself up to draw the next card I want. Obviously online, that's a heck of a lot of clicks just to scry. But it does scry me into the next card I need. Maybe I need a Kitchen Finks to gain infinite life. Or maybe I need a removal spell post board. Scavenging Ooze is just really good right now. I think it's always kind of good. If they do kill my creatures, Scavenging Ooze starts becoming big. If they use a graveyard, Scavenging Ooze starts attacking them there. It's the only main board Silver Bullet I run, and it's the only one I think is worth running, just because its power level is outstanding. It will win games against Dredge on its own. It will win games against Jund on its own. If they're too busy killing your combo pieces, which they should be, game 1, if you can drop a Scavenging Ooze and put it at a bolt range, you can be feeling pretty good in that match. Collected Company is the namesake of the deck. It lets us get 2 creatures. All of these cards, with the exception of Walking Ballista, are very good Collected Company hits. Walking Ballista, obviously, because it would just die. Now, I have grabbed Walking Ballista and Eternal Witness before just to buy back the Ballista with the Witness, but that's kind of techie and rarely happens. Chord of Calling is the less grindy but more combo-y version of Collected Company. Lets you get whichever card you want out of your deck to combo with. Most of the fast wins with this deck either have a lucky Collected Company hit or I have a chord and get exactly what I need. Sideboard, I've been tuning for a very long time. Got a lot of help with it. So I'm on 5 removal spells, 3 paths, 1 trophy, 1 decay. The reason I'm not all on board on Assassin's Trophy, which to start was one of the main draws I wanted with this deck, in theory, Assassin's Trophy doesn't have a drawback in a deck that is going to kill you quickly. I don't care if my opponent gets a land, if I'm stopping the one thing they have that can... If I'm killing their Scavenging Ooze, if I'm killing their Karn, I don't care if they get a land because I'm killing them the next turn. The problem is that Modern, since the printing of Trophy, and it's kind of since a little before that as well, has gotten faster. Now, if my opponent is trying to Lava Spike me to death, I really don't want to give them a free land. This deck, you look at it and say, oh, 4 Kitchen Finks, Scavenging Ooze main, you're going to be fine against Burn. It's still a rough matchup. I do have a very good win rate against Burn currently, but I feel that's in part due to my opponent maybe not understanding the deck or some luck, which you always need a little bit against Burn if they draw 1 land too many instead of that bolt. I think I'm 10-2 or something like that against Burn right now, but and part of that's because of my sideboard, as you'll see in a second. Assassin's Trophy is bad against Burn. Kills their creature, but it costs 2 mana, and it gives them a land. It puts them ahead on plan. I don't like it. Abrupt Decay, however, very good against Burn. If they end up bringing Rest in Peace in, if they bring anything in, really. I've even killed... There's an artifact that whenever you cast a red spell, they get a counter on it. They can sacrifice it and deal like 6 damage to your face. I've destroyed that before with it. Abrupt Decay also hits random things like Chalice of the Void or Detention Sphere, and it also gets through spirits really well. I wouldn't actually mind dropping this trophy for another Decay if the Tron matchup was better, but I think the Decay trophy mix is very good right now. 3 Path, because Path is the best spell we have. Best removal spell we have. I did mention giving the opponent a land is very bad. So it may seem contradictory when I say path is very good. The biggest difference is the trophy land is untapped. The path land is tapped. Also, this early game, that's my entire turn. Spend 2 mana, that's my entire turn. Path, I can usually spend 1 mana and also still deploy a threat. Turn 2, I can, if I drop the Dork turn 1, I can deploy a Devoted Druid and path something. I can't do that with Trophy. So path is much better. Path is also, the Exile Clause is also very relevant right now. So 5 removal spells. This is my grindy package. This deck is already pre-boarded against interactive decks with the Scavenging Ooze, Safi, and Rallier. So it's already pretty good against grindy decks, and this is what I want to add to make it even better. Originally, I was running 2 Tracker. Primarily so my collected company hits stayed good and stayed very high, and I really don't want company to whiff, and Gideon obviously be a whiff on that. But Gideon's just a better tracker in every sense of the word, so I still will have the company hit. In any interactive matches, I'll still have enough company hits to give me I think it was an 85% chance to get 2 creatures off a hit, which I'm comfortable with. And Gideon can win the game by himself. Honestly, what ended up drawing me to him in general is, and I played a lot of Gideon ally of Zendikar, I don't really need a reason to be drawn to him, but this deck runs Eternal Witness. If the game's going to go long, there's nothing stopping this deck from -4ing Gideon, getting an emblem, playing Eternal Witness, getting him back, and then either -4ing him again or just making 3/3s. This deck can do that, and I've never played a Gideon deck before that will be able to exploit a one-of Planeswalker this well. So that's my grindy package. 2 Sync Collectors come against any spell-based combo decks, including Burn. Can also go in against Scapeshift. Any deck where a single spell could end me or a single spell could ruin me, like an Anger of the Gods, I will bring in Sync Collector. Night of Autumn arguably should just be 2 of. I've been extremely impressed with it. If you notice, I'm not running Qasali Pridemage, and that's because of Night of Autumn. However, Qasali Pridemage can be corded in response to someone playing a Grafdigger's Cage. You can't do that with Night of Autumn, because Grafdigger's Cage stops the cord, and Night of Autumn is a enter the battlefield trigger, where Qasali Pridemage you can use afterwards. So, because of that, I want more density of cards that can destroy Grafdigger's Cage, and just hope to naturally draw them. Night of Autumn I bring in almost every single match because it deals with Grafdigger's Cage, it deals with Rest in Peace, it deals with Ley Lines. It gains me life against burn decks, against humans, against everything like that. Everything trying to race me, it's just a very good card. And being able to destroy artifacts and enchantments is very useful. I almost never use the 2 +1/+1 counters on it, but technically Night of Autumn is the biggest creature in my entire deck, which is weird to say. 4/3. So other than that, it'd be Kitchen Finks is a tiny little 3/2. Spellskite, just added this recently. It did win me a match at the Invitational against Boggles. It's also very good against Infect, which are just decks that are very good against us. You can also do something like Court of Calling it against Valakut and redirect the triggers to Spellskite to keep you at a few life, which is pretty useful. Spellskite has been a couple different cards. It's been a Selfless Spirit, which was underwhelming. It's been a Shalai, which was very good, but just wasn't good enough. I think Spellskite is the card we want right now. I just think it's very good against some of our bad matchups. Same thing with Eidolon. In fact, you could argue you need 2 of these right now with all these Phoenix decks running around, because Eidolon shuts them down. It's also a 1/4, which is very difficult for a blue-red deck to kill, especially if they can't cast 2 bolts in one turn. So, very happy with Eidolon. Great against KCI, great against Storm, great against any combo deck, any deck that's trying to get multiple spells a turn. And the second Scavenging Ooze is, again, kind of like a fair matchup card, but also our only graveyard hate in this entire deck. I used to also run a Remorseful Cleric, and you can see in my channel, it did win me a match against Dredge in the top 8, but just doesn't do enough, and Dredge is already a good matchup to begin with. The only thing I'd really want it for would be Storm, maybe Mardu Pyromancer, But Storm and Mardu Pyromans, I mean, are both probably our two worst matchups to begin with. We really just have to hope we win quickly against both of those decks. I don't think a sideboard slot for our worst matchups is worth it. Making a 35% win rate matchup into a 40%, I don't think is as worth it as making a even better matchup even better. Burn, for example, with a 3 Knight of Autumns, has been a much better matchup. Collected Company into a Knight of Autumn and a Kitchen Finks when we have 7 is, unless they have a Skullcrack, is good game. We have Sin Collector to get rid of their Skullcrack as well, so this is a very, very good 75 against Burn. Game 1's a little rough, but then we bring in the big boys for games 2 and 3. So this is the deck tech. We're going through Sideboard Guide as I play matches. I hope you like it. Please leave any questions you have in the comments, and I will answer them as soon as I'm able. See you next time.